Hey guys, welcome to today's video. My name is Vienna Lay and I am your local real estate expert in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So I've already talked about buyers representation in a different video, why it's so important, why buyers need it, and just the overall positives as to why buyers should have a real estate agent by their side when they are essentially making a very big purchase in their life. And so this video, it's been a long time coming, but I'm finally making one for why seller's representation is so important. You'll be surprised that even on the streets, I see a lot of people trying to sell their own homes, and I've heard a lot of situations where agents have met with sellers selling their own homes and their stories about it, and it just really emphasizes the fact for me why seller representation is so important, and it seems like not as many people seem to understand that. And so I wanted to make this video to add in a little bit more on this matter as to why seller representation is so important. So if you're interested in that, then go ahead and keep on watching. In the business of real estate, seller representation, as well as any real estate representation, I would say, is very important to make sure that we have a smooth and easy transaction in the housing transaction process. And that sounds very common sense. It sounds like, well, obviously that's what we're here for, but not everyone sees it that way. And so I wanted to make this video as a contribution as to why seller's representation is so important. In the business of real estate, we lovingly refer to the sellers who are selling their own house as FSBOs, and that is FSBO, standing for sale by owner. Very easy to remember, and it's, you know that it has to be practiced pretty often for there to be a name given to sellers selling their own houses. It happens quite often, and so this video, I wanted to tell you why it's discouraged, but also why it happens and why it's important to get representation. So we're going to start off with, why does this even happen in the first place? Well, if you are a seller or you're thinking of selling your house, then perhaps you think that the selling part of a home is especially easy, especially in a seller's market when a home sale could just go off just like that. Like your house isn't even on the market for very long. You're putting out signs in the street and that's enough to market your house and people will flock to it. I can read paper, I can sell my own house, I just need to wait for the money to get in my pocket. Another reason why sellers may not want to work with a real estate agent is because maybe they don't see the value of having a capable real estate agent with them, which is very unfortunate. But I've heard this happen a lot as well, where real estate agents don't seem to feel or look like they're doing as much to sell a house, whether or not the seller can see it. And so sellers may not find the value in real estate agents. And for those other sellers, as a result, or maybe some previous experience, they don't feel like it is worth paying for a real estate agent to sell their house. So it saves them a percentage of the sales price of the home. And so it could be a financial reason. So there are reasons as to why sellers find it intriguing to sell their own house. I mean, how hard can it be, right? Well, I'm here to say that yes, it is quite difficult selling a house, whether you're a buyer or a seller's agent. There are a lot of moving parts when it comes to selling a house, and I want to start off with going off of those things that I mentioned, that I understand why sellers may be a little off-putting into wanting to work with an agent. But I need to talk about why it is important and why I discourage it, not because of my own benefit, but for the seller's benefit as well. When you decide to not get representation from a professional, you are trying to do everything yourself. You are sacrificing the professionalism and the training that real estate agents go through when they are doing this day by day and understand contracts and understand how to read certain scenarios depending on every single offer that gets sent into your house. And so when you are opting out of a real estate agent, you are opting out of a careful, watchful eye on which contract you decide to execute that may or may not hurt you. There are some things that are very tricky to read when it comes to what offers are being sent in that may hurt you as a seller and put you at a disadvantage. If some sort of hiccup happens during the transaction process, no one is there to help you, and that could make or break a sale sometimes. So when it comes to just reading paper or reading offers, it is a lot more difficult than sellers give it credit for, and you are hiring that professional eye to help look out for your best interest and to make sure that things are done legally correct, and to make sure that you, the seller, are not put in a bind, whether it's financially or to perhaps maybe accidentally get yourself into some trouble with legal things, which could definitely happen in a real estate transaction. So that is one huge thing that I would say is definitely important and worth paying for when you are getting a professional to help sell your house. The other thing is marketing. And so, like I mentioned before, when it comes to marketing, if the market's hot and you are in a hot seller's market, maybe a sign or two out in the yard is enough, or maybe a Facebook post or something. But when it comes to a typical market, you hire a real estate professional to help market your property, whether it's hosting open houses, posting on the MLS, or also inside brokerage insights from buyers that are in their brokerage as well, working with other agents. And so you are also paying for connections and paying for the marketing in the connections that a seller's agent has, as well as their additional resources to help you navigate through the transaction process, as well as helping to sell your home in a timely manner, and someone who will consult you. And so marketing is a huge thing, of course, that you are paying for as a seller when you are hiring a seller's agent. You are getting so many more resources and a much more knowledgeable person to help you navigate in the housing market and making sure that you're set up for success no matter your life scenario. And the other thing that tends to happen is making sure that you are in the market in a smart way, whether it's your house price being correct or even the way you market is right. And all of that stuff are things that your real estate agent is hired to do as well. So most FSBOs tend to put their house on the market for what they think the house is worth, but aren't getting a professional viewpoint as to what it's actually worth in the current status of the market. Now, don't get me wrong, sellers at the end of the day can price their house however much they want, and the seller's agent has to comply with that because the seller's agent is not the one that owns the house. And so it's really just about getting that knowledge from a professional in the field and making sure that you are mentally, financially ready to sell the house in the right mindset and in the right way. And like I said, I understand why it could be tempting to not work with an agent, but I've heard so many stories of a buyer being represented by an agent and the seller not being represented, and the seller would have no idea what they were doing. Like, they had no idea, unless you yourself are a real estate agent and are in this field 24/7 and selling your own house. It is something I would not recommend to anybody. Navigating a real estate transaction is a lot harder than a lot of people think. And it is something that you should be trusting a professional with, because it is essentially navigating one of the biggest financial transactions that you have in your life. It is something that could be also very personal, and it's not about the fact that real estate agents are the same, because they are not at all. It's about sellers finding your specific real estate agent that fits your needs, that sees eye to eye with you, that you want to work with, and build that trust and bond so that when real estate transaction happens, then you have someone that will look out for you and someone who actually cares about what's going on with your house. So that is my stance on why it's so important that sellers, just like my buyers, please work with a real estate agent. Do not hesitate to work with someone who you are hiring to look out for your best interests and help you navigate through the complications and through all the possible hiccups that could happen during a real estate transaction, so that you guys are better, well prepared, and just way more secure in going through with the housing transaction. So that's where I'm coming from with it. If there are some other points, which I'm sure there are, from agents and sellers alike, and perhaps buyers too, you never know about this specific subject, FSBO, seller representation. If you have something to say about it, go ahead and leave it in the comments below. I'd love to read those. And if you like this video and also maybe found this helpful, go ahead and leave a like and share with people who may want to see it. And if you like real estate content just like this, then go ahead and subscribe. I upload videos every single week. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye!